Hello, epic viewers from around the multiverse! Prepare to indulge in experiencing sheer bliss, because today another rhythmic Captain Stellar unboxing video is about to be brought to fruition. What item will I be unboxing? What item will I be opening? Without further delay, without further procrastination, allow me to list the box. What items are covered inside this bulky, hefty, tangible, nifty box? Let's find out. I'm going to demystify the answer to that inquiry right here, right now, so bear with me. It will only take me billions of microseconds to extract the item from the box and subsequently flaunt it in front of the camera for you to feast your glorious eyes on. Here we go. The unboxing process is about to commence. The unboxing process is officially underway. Which figurine have I drawn forth? Which figurine have I elicited? Which figurine have I extracted from the box? This figure is known by the moniker of Slammer. Apparently he's a part of the Power Rangers Dino Charge action figure line. Is this figurine a paradigm of perfection? Does it warrant a premium price? Does this figurine have unprecedented merit? Let's find out. This subjective. You could assess this figurine's merits down to the nitty-gritty details in order to determine whether or not he warrants a hefty, exorbitant premium price. If I said nitty-gritty, I meant to say nitty-gritty. Sorry about the blunder. I just rectified myself. Let's move on. Alright, so apparently he's a villain from the Power Rangers Dino Charge series. I'm not well acclimated with the series. I just buy action figures that I deem to be aesthetically appealing. Does this figurine have intrinsic value? Well, that's enigmatic. I do not know. Why is it an enigma? Well, this figurine may be shoddy. He may become dismantled post unboxing him from his packaging. At the moment, he appears to be unscathed. Do I love his shadings? Do I love his deco? Do I love his aesthetics? Do I love his paint applications? Let's find out. Alrighty, so here's a cardboard back that can be relegated to the trash, that can be consigned to the trash. It has no pragmatic use anymore. Here's this little plastic shell, or his plastic tray, that could also be relegated to the trash. So here we have Sledge. Does he have ample points of articulation? Well, he seems to have at least 8 points of articulation. His knees and his elbows are not double jointed, nor can he perform an ankle pivot. That's disappointing. What else are his shortcomings? Well, he stands roughly 5 inches tall, so he doesn't coincide eminently well with a 6-inch Marvel Legends action figure collection. Those figurines tower over him. He's dwarfed by the Marvel Legends, churned out by Toy Biz amid the early 21st century. Unfortunately, Toy Biz is now defunct. So here we have this villainous character. Is he sadistic? Is he menacing? Is he malicious? Is he cunning? Is he conniving? I do not know. That is an enigma. Is he a tyrant? Perhaps. Now, he lacks 2 peg holes embedded in the bottom of his feet. Most action figures have 2 peg holes embedded in the bottom of their feet. However, this character is an exception to the rule. Here are some other figurines, a part of the Power Rangers Dino Charge action figure line. So let's meticulously analyze Slammer. His seam lines are conspicuous, they stand out, but from afar they're arduous to pinpoint, so it's not that much of a salient issue, but it is noticeable nonetheless. What else? I detest the fact that he lacks finger joint articulation. I detest the fact that he can't perform an ankle pivot. I detest the fact that his elbows and knees are only single jointed. Furthermore, he cannot rotate his biceps, nor can he swivel his waist. His head is also not relegated to a disc joint. That's disappointing. So his articulation is finite. Slammer could have been refined. He could have had at least 20 points of articulation. He seems to have roughly 6 points of articulation. If I said 8 earlier, I made a blunder. His arms cannot be moved, only his forearms. His little skirt encumbers his leg movements, so his articulation in his legs is limited, to say the least. In addition to the articulation in his legs being limited, he cannot swivel his arms. So his arms are stagnant, they're stationary, they're sedentary. They cannot move beyond his forearms articulation. Sorry, let me revamp that. They cannot move beyond his forearms, articulating forwards and backwards to an extent. So this is just disappointing. As a totality, this figurine does not warrant a hefty, exorbitant premium price of under $10. I'm disappointed. His arms are now relegated to ratchets. He lacks a diaphragm joint. He lacks an ab crunch. He's more of a miniature statue. I mean, that's the way I perceive him. So, once again, just to give you a synopsis, appertaining to the flaws of the figurine, I'd like to notify you that he lacks peg holes, he lacks a diaphragm joint, he lacks an ab crunch, he lacks articulation in his arms, his knees and elbows are not double jointed, he cannot perform ankle pivots, and his head is not relegated to a disc joint, and he's only 5 inches tall, so he's short in stature. For an action figure, he does not coincide eminently well with the DCUC action figure collection, nor with a Marvel Legends action figure collection. But if you're an avid, devout Power Rangers Dino Charge fan, then perhaps he'll tickle your fancy and perhaps he'll appeal to your niche interests. I mean, it is so contingent upon what you relish. So, do I have qualms about buying this action figure? I do, for roughly $10. For $5, perhaps I would have been content with parting with 500 pennies in order to procure this figurine, but had I known from the get-go that the figurine lacks articulation in his arms, had I known that his leg articulation is finite, and had I known that he cannot swivel his waist nor perform an ab crunch, then I would have desisted from buying the figurine. So I personally would have abstained from buying the figurine for $10 had I known his features in advance. However, you can still make a more prudent decision than I could have, because now you know his features, characteristics, and capabilities. So I'd also like to notify you that his shadings, deco, paint applications, aesthetics, sculpt is just relatively mediocre at best. This is not the quintessential figurine of Slammer. It may be the only figurine of Slammer released onto the market at the moment, but a refined version of this figurine may be released in the pending future, and perhaps someone who can develop their own custom-made action figures may forge their own version of Slammer that trumps this figurine in every facet. So this figurine is mediocre at best, but does not warrant an asking price of more than $5 in my subjective, humble opinion. Marvel Legends action figures had anywhere from 30 to 42 points of articulation. They had high quality aesthetics, high quality shadings, high quality paint applications. They had ample points of articulation. They came bundled with a comic book and came bundled with a myriad of accessories. On the other hand, this figurine commands a higher markup, and he doesn't come bundled with any accessories. He stands roughly 5 inches tall. He's dwarfed by the Marvel Legends figurines. He doesn't come bundled with a comic book nor any corresponding accessories, and only has 6 points of articulation. As they're going to render these action figures short in stature, they should at least compensate in other facets Bandai hasn't in this context, so I'm disappointed. I'll desist from buying figurines from this line in the pending future, unless I can obtain them for under $5, so those are my final thoughts. If you have anything you would like to add or contribute, please feel free to post your feedback via the comment section. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.